discover liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam has been engaged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews on the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network. Today is Wednesday, July the 3rd, 2024. It is the 26th week of comics in 2024, which means it's the exact midpoint of the year.
Wow.
Do some math. 52 divided by 2 is 26.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I'm correct. There we go. Speaking of which, July 3rd, meaning yesterday, 2 days ago was July 1st, was Canada Day, and tomorrow, of course, is America Day. I know it's not called that, but you know, what does independence mean these days? There you go. I'm Matthew. He's Chris. On Monday, I took Iron Cannon off to go sit on the beach watching fireworks with some friends.
Oh.
Is what we do, and watch some soccer all day, and it was fun. Do you got any big Independence Day plans tomorrow?
Basically the same thing, barring any soccer watching, but
Okay.
Sitting on the beach watching fireworks. That's about it.
I don't think there are any games tomorrow, so we're in one of the weird week between in two tournaments going on. There aren't any games. So yeah, sitting on the beach watching fireworks, rockets, red glare, and all that. Before we get to plugs, you wanted to bring something up. Mention something?
Yeah, for the Legends fans out there, you guys are gonna love this one. I almost forgot about that. I ordered this off cheapgraphicnovels.com because
Nice.
here's a pro tip: if you guys are into any omnibus editions, like they sell them like 60% off day of release.
Nice.
This one's probably sold out, I would imagine, because these are the top comics and Legends ever, and they're all in one book. It's insane. Like, this thing weighs probably 10 pounds. I don't know. Do you have any omnibuses? Because this thing is massive.
I have the old ones.
Look at this. Look at that cover, man.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Oh, look at how thick that is.
I'm realizing I completely forgot to do socials for this episode, so that's what I'm doing right now.
Like, it's hard to hold this thing up for too long, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking through the pages here. Great restoration, nice, white borders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is just amazing. This is incredible. And I'm gonna look to see. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly like what storylines. Okay, so we have a lot of Star Wars tales in here.
Mm-hmm.
We have the entire Heir to the Empire in comic book form here. The entire Dark Empire line in the comic here. We have all this stuff that has to do with Boba Fett, like coming out of the Sarlacc pit, surviving.
Mm-hmm.
This is everything a Star Wars Legends fan is going to find essential in this one book. This is technically Volume 2, so this is called The New Republic. I have Volume 1 too, and Volume 1 actually has the Shadows of the Empire follow-up story, and it has like all of the Rogue Squadron tie-in comic books for the books.
Yeah.
So between those two omnibuses, that's like 2,000 plus pages of Star Wars comics.
And how much does that set you back?
$80.
Yeah, not too bad.
It's $150 on the back. This is what I'm saying. Like, if you go to cheapgraphicnovels.com, when they announce these things, you can get such a huge discount. Yeah. It's crazy.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and it also goes to show Legends is still alive, guys. Legends hasn't gone anywhere. There's clearly an economic reason. Marvel sees to say, hey, we bought all this stuff from Dark Horse. We have it. Might as well print it and sell it. I got a bunch of like the Dark Horse omnibuses, like the classic.
Oh.
Like a bit smaller. Yeah.
Like the Ascent, they call them something else. Epic Collections?
No, just the so I think Epic Collections are still Marvel.
Yeah, they are.
No, like when the original kind of collected edition.
Oh.
Not the trade paperback, but the actual, like I have KOTOR 1 and 2. I have
KOTOR omnibus.
Dark Times I love Dark Times. Dark Times is about equal to Darth Plagueis.
Basically what we're getting with Inquisitors right now, right? Like, it's just like this really dour dark, tragic storyline.
I mean, what we got with Kenobi, what we got with a lot of things in canon. They did it first. Luke Ross and them did it first. So there we go. Anyways, I guess that's we can move right along. Get some plugs out of the way. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Iron Cannon Pod, EYEON CANONPOD, and on Twitter and YouTube at Starraptor, STARRAPTER. I have to really make sure I enunciate so I get all the letters right there. Check out that at starraptor.substack.com. I'm mulling over something about writing. We'll see what happens there. Keep it locked. Keep your eyes out. See what happens. But yeah, you can definitely check us out on Mondays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Here on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel, Iron Cannon podcast. This past week, Joel and the Daughters of Ferrix, they went over episode 5 of The Acolyte, and this coming week, of course, we're going to go episode 6. And I'm sure on Outer Rim Transmissions, you're doing the same. Oh, you're still muted.
I was literally in the middle of trying to set up socials. What was the question?
Outer Rim Transmissions, talking about The Acolyte.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll be talking about it regular time though. Last week I did a solo podcast because it was a last minute thing. I had to go live on Friday, but our normal time is on Sundays at 7 p.m. So yeah, we'll be back there talking about episode 5 on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
There we go. All right, check that out and check out the flagship. One note of the flagship. I'll pick this up again. We usually do most of these plugs at the end, but I felt like doing them right now anyway. Flagship, they're doing their go usually tomorrow, but tomorrow there's a certain holiday south of the border, and so they're going Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Underworld YouTube channel. A few more plugs here on the Underworld YouTube channel, on Underworld socials, and everywhere you can see your podcasts. They're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're not anymore. That's complicated. One last thing, yeah. Here on the Underworld YouTube channel, we have super chats. We got YouTube memberships. So if you super chat, we will bring your comment to the top of the pile. Please do support the channel and subscribe, like the video, and all that. And of course, the Underworld Discord server. I keep forgetting to plug that because Joel isn't here. Just below in the notes there, click the link in the description. You'll get an invite from Joel Davis to the Discord server. You should go ask him what his favorite flavor of ice cream is, and he'll be sure to answer you there. Yeah, let's dive right in then. The plugs out of the way. Dive right in. 2 comments. We got 2 books this week. And then talk about Acolyte a little bit. First up, Hierarch number 9, written by Kevin Scott, art by Laura Braga, colors by Jim Campbell, and cover by Phil Noto. And as you'll see, first off, this is the first. I got to point this out. It's on this side, Matthew. Got to point this bit out here. This is the first thing I got my hands on with this Acolyte, a century before the Acolyte branding, and I gotta say, Marvel, Dark Horse.
Yep.
Released variant.
Oh no, the mic has gone away again.
Is that better?
Slightly better. Can you move it closer?
No. Marvel release or Dark Horse. Whoever.
Oh no, it sounds like you're in a tunnel.
Really? That's weird. I don't know why that keeps happening. Let me.
Can you turn up the gain or something, maybe?
See here. Is that better?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Tech tests. I don't know. I'm gonna ask Dom to figure this out. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Marvel, Dark Horse, milk that for all it's worth.
Yeah, really, guys. Good synergy. I love seeing that on the cover. It was great.
Like the whole thing, milk it. Say, hey, you want to know about this Vern character? You want to know about this era? Why is Vernestra get queasy on hyperspace roots? Read all about it in this High Republic novel by Justina Ireland. I'm sure. I hope they do that for the novel covers too. But here we have it, right on the comic book cover. Release a photo variant. I never buy photo variants.
Yeah.
But release a photo variant of Bald Vern, even if Vern isn't even in the comic at all, and I will spend my $4 Canadian on that variant cover. Anyway, moving right along. High Republic issue number 9. assault on Fortress Bulan. The secret space station is on the point of collapse as the Nameless close in. A foe turned ally reaches a crossroads while loyal companions risk everything to save their friends. Meanwhile, the Nile's chief scientist finally makes his move, but will Baron Bulan's shocking gambit pay off? I admit I did have to look back at number 8 to remember what happened in this one, but that's okay. Keep on tracking Lourna in this comic, and she has this really interesting moment. I think that's what the description is getting on about. A foe turned ally. At some point, Keeve says, you gotta save the day, or you gotta go stop. And Lourna is carrying the child of the Force, the foam girl.
Yeah, Cumby. Yep.
Cumby, and she's guess I gotta go save the day now. And that's the thing. She's getting a taste of heroism. She's getting a taste.
Great, isn't
it? What it's like to really be part of a team.
What a turn
to face the Nile, oppose the Nile, and there's still a moment. I think it's in this issue or the last issue with Bulan, how he asks her, why you're doing this, and it's for myself, but we keep seeing the convergence between Keeve and Lourna, and Keeve is willing to. No, Keeve isn't going dark. Keeve never goes dark. She doesn't leave the Order because she's fallen to the dark side. I'm convinced that will never be the case as to why that happens. But Lourna maybe is going to show her a new way of being a hero, a different way of being a hero, and remembering again everything from the last audiobook, the Calvin Scott audiobook about Lourna, Tempest Runner, everything she's been through, everything that was taken from her, and now she's finding a team to be a part of. She's not young, she's not vulnerable, but she's still everyone's vulnerable, and she's still willing to consider hesitantly, haltingly, what it might mean to actually live for other people as opposed to just for herself, and not need to just defend me and mine, as she had to, given everything she faced. And so that was an important moment. Then what's happening with Skier? It's a really interesting question. I know the issue addresses it sort of at the end. Is there a tracker on him? I think Orblin.
Oh yeah.
Is there a tracker on him? Is he spying on Bulan? Is is he going to betray him, or did something still happen? That's the thing with Skier. He's a Trandoshan, which is a little, it's not like he's a real ethnicity, so it's not too racist. If a Wookiee was all, it's Trandoshans, that would be racist. But he's a Trandoshan. He's literally a lizard. He's literally a snake. Always a little questionable, just because of the way Trandoshan psychology is very. They have that predatory games for fun that we saw in Clone Wars. And so here's even a Jedi Master who has been captured by the Nile and experimented on and had this disease, and now he's going off with Bulan. And we don't quite know what what his end game is there. So that last thing to say, two things to say. First of all, Lourna apparently going kaboom at the end. I'm not buying that. We have the audiobook coming in December, so she'll be fine. Sareth, I'm a little worried about Sareth. He goes into space. They go into space. And
is it Sareth or Tarek that goes?
Sareth. I remember very clearly it's Sareth. And they followed the explosion, and Tarek can't feel them.
But that's happened before, though, with the Drengir stuff. They totally acted like the other version was dead, and then they came back out of nowhere.
Yeah, maybe that's true. And even on that planet, at the beginning of this run, that there was a sense of separation and distance. That is interesting. I mean, either way, then Tarek has experience without Sareth, and to find who they are themselves. It's just very a very interesting story move that at least opens up that possibility. Here's the final question. Then we were messaging about this. Apparently, issue number 10 is it, and I think you're going to get into this too, because I mean, it does say you were mentioning also. It says to be continued, not concluded. I always thought this was a 12-issue run. Apparently, it's a 10-issue run. I wonder if just thinking about Tarek and Sarah and Lourna and Keeve, there's a lot more story to go with them, with all that.
Yeah,
and
doesn't feel like anything for a closure.
And so, that's the wonderful thing about High Republic. I'm good with, and I've said this before, I'm good with that audio drama in December being the series finale to this comic book. Right? I'm good with Kevin Scott saying, you know what? Yeah, we have these stories for issues 11 and 12. It makes sense for me to spin those out and incorporate those into this audio drama because it's a novel length audio drama. And the thing about a novel is a novel length and audio dramas, you can take more time to do more things with characters. I mean, at least longer than the 4 issues we would have, 4 issues we would have had left, 3 issues we would have had left. So I'm good. And to say, okay, the 11 and 12 would have been maybe the first act. What would have been 11 and 12 might become the first act of this audio drama. So I'm okay with that. It's just a little odd because comics, like, we like to wrap them up. We like them to wrap up kind of neatly. But again, in High Republic, there are different rules in High Republic, and I've gotten used to it. Getting used to characters jumping back and forth and different things. So I mean, just a bit of a spoiler. I just finally started reading Temptations of the Force, and with Porter at the beginning there, memories of Barash, memories of his sister. Back here, you can't really see her, but yeah, memories of her that we only see in the Blade comic book. So that happens. So anyways, those are all my thoughts on High Republic number 9. I'll throw it to you, Chris. What were your thoughts? What were your response? All that stuff.
Yeah, there's certainly high stakes in this comic book because we have 3 characters that are going down a path that we didn't expect, whether it be death or going with somebody else. Now, the thing with Skier, when I was reading it, was if you pay close attention, Baron Bulan is talking in Trandoshan dialect to Skier. So that was interesting for me. It's like, okay, why the hell is an Ithorian speaking Trandoshan? There's something between the two. There's something going on there. There's something that's underneath the surface that I think it's more than just, oh, he's got a tracker. That's them just presuming that's the case. But there is something else at play here. And the way he was stuck on that planet for like a year.
Yeah.
And just going crazy. I don't know. I think we might have a tragic ending for Skier in the next issue. Going into this audio drama. But yeah, very action-packed, very action-heavy. There was one moment that I chuckled at with Orbelin, the gooey Jedi here. As Lourna D was running back to the Ataraxia, she was going to try to make a break for it or something and try to get out of there, and he kind of persuaded her, like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And he ends up, like, the girl, the Akumi girl, I don't know if you noticed, jumped into the gelatinous embrace of Orbelin.
The gelatinous embrace of Orbelin.
Yeah.
That's a good phrase.
And she had made like a little reaction, like in mid-sentence when he did that, like she was offended that like she would jump for this gooey guy rather than be in her arms. So it was like those little things where I only picked it up on the second time I read through it. And it was like, so you gotta love Kevin Scott for injecting a little bit of levity in a situation where it's like, okay, doom and gloom, the whole ship is gonna rip itself apart. It was towards like the end, I think.
Yeah, getting towards the end.
But I mean, going through it, it was solid. It was solid. I like the fighting against the Children of the Storm.
Mm-hmm.
The one character there is trying to get into the mind of Keeve Trennis.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And I love how Scoop just zaps this character and then Hatar, yeah, her name is Hatar,
Mhm.
zaps Hatar, and then what happens is she snaps out of being like a younger version of herself with like a mirroring image in back of her. It
Mhm.
was very like Doctor Strange-esque.
Yeah.
And it was that like metaphysical, like in your head, like it was a cool moment. So I got to shout out, artwork on that one for being above and beyond, with that. But the whole idea of this Sith gauntlet and it being taken away from Tay Sarek, and then the Ithorian wielding it, Bulan, and then going back to Skier. So it was like this hot potato kind of thing going around with this Sith artifact. So I enjoyed seeing that in action again. But yeah, I mean, the overall thing is like this is the Lord of D's time to shine. I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about Keith Travis being like this is the titular character that we were first introduced, but Lorna D has really come a long way to the point where she is. I can't believe I'm saying it. Heroic. Like she has really turned 360 or 180, and completely just gone this way of like. I like how Keith Travis was getting on her case about. Oh yeah, it's gonna be another one of these situations where a Nile scuttles the ship, and she's like, I'm not Nile anymore. I'm my own person, my own free will. And if you've listened to the Tempest Runner audio drama, we get this hear about her backstory. She never was Nile all the way to begin with. She was working for the Kurita military for a little bit with the Republic, and then she went off, and so she's always been that kind of way. She was a Nile for a large part of her life, but now it's like she's just like this mercenary or whatever you want to call her. But yeah, solid story. Solid story. If you're calling this penultimate issue, I think it delivered where it raised the stakes,
Mhm.
answered a lot of questions, but also gave us a little bit more questions for this finale.
Yeah. Just thinking about Lorna, and yeah, like you mentioned, she was always not fully Nile, not fully in. And thinking about the Acolyte, for example, there's a bit of a theme in Star Wars where, well, it's a big theme in Star Wars, I think, where independence, and this is maybe relevant for tomorrow, independence from the crowd is a way to heroism. Independence from, from say, in episode 3 of the Acolyte, at least we see Asha being all, I don't want to be part of my, part of this coven family that have been brainwashed or whatever. However you read that, um, Luke wanting to leave the homestead, not being willing to go along with the system. There is that kind of radical anti-authoritarian strain a little bit. It's just oddly enough in some stories, like in with Lorna, ends up saying, I'm going to be my own person. I'm going to find my own core within myself and not let other people tell me because they'll all let me down, or because I have high standards for myself or whatnot. And so, yeah, that she's actually found a group of people. And I think this happens a little bit in the High Republic Adventures comic too. See with Lula, for example, or and with Zine in the other direction. She leaves her planet originally. This is the High Republic Phase 1. Leaves her own planet, finds the Jedi, and so, oh yeah, I can use the Force. Why not? And there's that strain of thought, even all the way up to Leia with the Resistance, and saying, the Republic, I have to leave the safety of the Republic in order to really respond to this threat of the First Order. And so again, to see that, I mean, I don't know how conscious that is with Lorna. Maybe it is a little bit in that we're seeing the Nile. Nile are always this interesting paradox, right? They're always for this rampant individualism, but they're these mindless drones addicted to this drug of I take what I want. And so the true hero can then step out of that and say, no, I'm going to be part of something bigger than myself. And that's been Star Wars since 1977. Interesting to think about that. Again, seeing Lorna's story as it progresses. Um, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any further thoughts on this issue?
No, I'm excited to see, more High Republic content coming out on a weekly basis between the Acolyte, between the books, between the High Republic comics. Next week we're going to get the High Republic Adventures, I believe. So it's every week. It's not just the Acolyte. We're getting some kind of ancillary material as well. I would even call it ancillary because the High Republic is so foundational for that era that it's not just side stuff. This stuff has been holding the line as the flagship for that entire era. Now the Acolyte almost feels like almost more of a ancillary material because it's the new thing that's trying to make its waves, you know?
I mean, that's one of its strengths of this show is it feels so authentically High Republic. In line of, I mean, of course, and the more we get, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but the more we get of that show, the more direct connections we get from the books. We know Leslie's been reading. It hasn't been overwhelming. It's been a good balance, but yeah, you know, it's true. Like these aren't tiny materials. These have been these standalone, not standalone, but it's just been a standalone initiative that this show is fitting into. So I agree. Looking for it next week and the week later. I don't quite know when issue number 10 comes out, but yeah, getting things down the pipe. All right, let's move right along to it's finally here.
Finally,
number 1, written by Rodney Barnes. He gets his own Star Wars. Ramon Rosanas, colors by Guru EFX, cover by Nick Bradshaw and Niraj Menon. The Jedi must die. Weapons of the Emperor sent out into the galaxy to track down and kill any Jedi who survived Order 66. The ruthless Inquisitors are among the most skilled and deadly threats to those who served the light side of the Force. Buried in the annals of Jedi lore is the story of Tensu Run, the Jedi who faced the Inquisitors and Darth Vader. What became of him? And why did the Empire so greatly fear his existence? Chris, you wanna jump right in on this? You're ready to go. Take it away.
Yeah, it's the best comic in a long time for me. This is amazing. I'm happy to see that Marvel has just gone ahead and given Rodney Barnes the key to the Cadillac and just said, go have fun with this story and make your own creative work, because the poor guy has been doing a good job with that, adapting the different Mandalorian series, but we all know that he has his hands tied behind his back. He literally can't write a word that's not being portrayed by the actors. No creative outlet there for that sort of thing. So to see him like do so well with this dark time story, I'm like, geez, let's make this an ongoing at this rate, because I'm bought into the characters. I'm bought into the Grand Inquisitor. I'm bought into Tensu Run especially. I was not expecting to get this really badass Jedi that is, he's like just making a Jedi Order out of nowhere. He has a master. He has all these other Jedi around him. They have a mobile station. They have this headquarters on a planet, this refuge. Like, this guy's awesome. But like, not even that. Like the first, I guess you call it 5 minutes of the episode, first couple pages of the issue, is some of the darkest stuff in Star Wars ever. Like, just the idea that the Inquisitor is just like, okay, if you're not going to give me the information, I'm going to take all your kids and kill you all while they watch.
Right.
It's like, how can you get much darker than that? I literally said to myself, I'm like, that's how you start a Star Wars comic. Like, if you're not sold, if you're not bought in from that intro, I don't know what to tell you, because that thing was really gripping. It really buffs up the character of the Grand Inquisitor, right? I think in Rebel Season 1, we've seen him as like, oh, he's just cannon fodder. But over the years, whether it be the Obi-Wan series, whether it be some of the Darth Vader comics, now this, even the recently released Tales of the Empire showed him to be very, adaptable and very good with just being a teaching and demonstrating. This guy was able to take on like all these different Jedi. I don't know if they were probably Padawans or something, but easily dispatch them. Just being incredibly ruthless. I love seeing Darth Vader. It was interesting seeing him on a throne on the Devastator. I've never seen that in A New Hope. But yeah, overall, I just really loved it. And I think Marvel has something going with these miniseries, whether it be Mace Windu, Jango Fett, Inquisitor. They're able to kind of carve out their own little era and not have to worry about like being beholden to too many characters in one spot, and they can really have fun with it. So yeah, bravo to Marvel and team on this one.
Yeah, I just Googled, looked at on Marvel. Yeah, I did realize he did write Lando Double or Nothing, so he had
Oh,
a miniseries before. So that's our mistake.
oh, okay.
But to actually get another one and get another miniseries and run the original story. Yeah, it's wild. So many new characters, a whole new section pocket of survivors of Order 66, at least two of them. And yeah, this issue really plays with the similar themes in The Last Jedi about legends and heroism.
Mm.
It did go in a bit of an interesting direction in terms of like his epithets, his little statements, kind of reminded me of those monks on Jeddah and Jedi Survivor. Just all these pithy statements, but also the droid in the Battle of Jeddah.
Oh
Like
yeah.
all these pithy statements, and it's really going to play with this question of, he's a hero to all these people he rescued. He's a legend, but he also just wants to run away and go hide, in part because it's too much to carry, and that's, well, I'll finish my point. Too much to carry, but also because it's dangerous, right? As the Grand Inquisitor says, everywhere this Jedi is touched has brought despair, because it's exposed this thing that's this movement, this order that was deemed a traitor to the Emperor, traitor to the Empire, an enemy of the Republic, and an enemy to freedom and order and justice, and therefore is suspect by the Empire. And so it is dangerous and a risk to everyone else. But to see that contained, yeah, I agree. To see that contained in one comic book, we immediately feel this character, even though he's brand new. We immediately feel this circumstance, even if it's new to us. It's tapping into, like you've been talking about, things we saw in Kenobi and things we saw in Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, and things we've seen in Legends and Dark Times. Here's the next version of it. I will say I also liked it has an Eastern influence. It felt, I mean, the settings were a bit more samurai. It seemed like, I could be wrong about that, but it almost seems like something out of Visions, but very much canon. Just for that reason alone, just very much, these villagers, almost like that episode of The Mandalorian. That's also the Kurosawa episode, the Seven Samurai episode.
Mm-hmm.
So like the villagers out in a field and hiding from the Empire, and it feels very samurai there too. I could be wrong with that. Yeah, off to a fantastic start, and I really enjoyed, in a kind of a dark way, but yeah, like you're saying with the Grand Inquisitor, getting into his head, his own convictions, his own internal monologue, how he was a temple guardian, we know that, and now he's completely turned, and if he's willing to give his life for this cause, and we know, of course, what happens to him. I mean, it's kind of complicated with the Soul Vader comic, but we know he's never gonna ascend. It's never really gonna be worth it for him, but he does believe it is right now completely, and to see him really be relentless. Again, what we've seen in Kenobi, him being so relentless. We've seen in Rebels there, but taking more seriously, but also still at Vader's heel. Still this great moment where Vader's, these guys, we've seen this before too, right? These guys, they can't take care of business. I'm going to have to go in and do it myself. And of course, that's why it's on the cover. And that, I wonder, that's a tension at the heart of the Inquisitors. Is they're not Sith. I haven't read the
Rise of the Red Blade.
I haven't read Rise of the Red Blade, but I think that I'm guessing that is a tension. And there too, just a relationship with Vader. It definitely is in Rebels. Definitely is in. I mean, it's all about it in Kenobi. Yeah, he's already tapped into what's come before, in that sense of they're not Sith. They're allowed to use the Force. They're allowed to have lightsabers because they're serving the Sith and the Sith Order, if you will. Like the Order is in the New Order, the Empire. under the Sith, and yet they will never be able to amount to what Vader expects of them and hopes for them in that the Jedi Church. And yeah, it's always this kind of it's almost Sisyphus, right? They're always trying to wheel this boulder up the hill, but they're not Vader, and I think that's that's probably why in the original trilogy we don't see him much anymore. Or I mean that's in the canon in story reason. We haven't really seen them much in comics at all in the New Hope to Return of the Jedi. I mean, am I missing a story point where they just say, "Oh, to hell with these guys! I'm done with the Inquisitorius. I'm just going to take on Luke Skywalker myself." I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, all that to say, just in one issue, definitely sets that up well, and so like it seems to me it'll be both. At least this issue seems to be both kind of these co-protagonists in a way. It's really like Grand Inquisitor and Tensu Ren, and we're going to get into both of their heads, and I appreciate that. They aren't just mustache swirly villains like they are in Rebels, which is fine, which is great. They work that way, but here we're actually going to get into their heads too. They are the title characters, and so yeah, hopefully he'll be able to balance. Rodney Barnes will be able to balance. Really giving good character moments for these characters, for these Inquisitors, and giving character moments for Tensu Ren, and being able to give him a development too. Because it is odd, right? He's not like it's Inquisitors. They're sort of the protagonists of this story, and yet there's a Jedi. We're supposed to be cheering for the Jedi, so Jedi on the run. I don't know. We'll see how that all plays out. It'll be a good question to keep in mind. So that. You have any more thoughts on this issue?
Oh yeah, a lot of cool Easter eggs and things I want to point out. Purge Troopers was great seeing Purge Troopers again. I'm a huge fan of the design from the Fallen Order games. I mean, we've seen Purge Troopers technically in the Vader 2017 series on the taking of Dax City in Mon Cala. But at the point they were the clones, and we all know what happens there. Order 66, and they start shooting the Inquisitors. So they're like, okay, we got to get rid of the clones. We can't have them as our Purge Troopers anymore. So these are the conscripts, I would imagine. But it was really neat also seeing a Delta-class Jedi starfighter taking out TIE fighters. Yeah. That was awesome. I don't care. Like, as a prequel fan, seeing those two, the original trilogy and prequels colliding, and then those couple pages was just glorious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then like some Actuses that are probably being piloted by droids.
Oh yeah, they were coming out of the hangar. Yeah, I was wondering about that. And his master species looked like something I've never seen before. I always thought he was a Twi'lek without his Leku, maybe.
I don't know. Let's find out. Let's look at the
yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
One thing I liked about Tensu Ren is this idea of, and I think you kind of touched on this a little bit with your opening statement, about how he was kind of thrust by the will of the Force to like be the savior of these people, but he doesn't want to be like the poster boy necessarily. Like, it just happens. He doesn't know how. Like, all of a sudden he's just on this path. The next thing you know, he's the one responsible for all these people's lives, and they all like are just so passionate about him, so loyal to him. But it was never really his intentions. He was just trying to do the good thing. And next thing you know, now he's rescuing people. He really gives me that Cal Kestis vibe, gives me that Kyle Katarn vibe. But like at one point he's fighting the stormtroopers. Like, he's not perfect. Like, he gets shot in the shoulder by a blaster, and then he's shooting the guy with his own blaster. So that cannon jars kind of stuff going on. But it was really neat to see this character just going around, just freeing these civilians and whatnot, and then like they have this like little refuge place, and there's a guy that looks like he's straight up in a Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi outfit for the most part,
using the assets from
I mean, I would love to see this guy survive. I
Yeah.
really would. I would love to see Cal Kestis and maybe Luke eventually interact with this guy at some point.
Mhm.
It's almost like they're telegraphing he's going to die. Like, obviously, he's not going to be the one to do all this because Luke Skywalker eventually does it himself.
Yeah.
So then where is he at that point? But nonetheless, it is a compelling character that they created here to really give us the foil to the Inquisitors. Where it's like, I like how it ended too. About he does the unthinkable. Is like, enough is enough. Like, everybody that I was watching got killed. It's time for me to hunt them. It's like, wait, what? A Jedi's gonna hunt the Inquisitors? I gotta see where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, it might not go well. But yeah, it's a great point that he's going to serve as the foil for these Inquisitors. And so, maybe to amend my statement, he's going to be the way to actually help us explore these dark side characters. And so he has to be compelling enough for these other characters to react against and move against. Yeah, I mean, they may not be used to Jedi going on the offensive like that too, right? Again, Cal Kestis does at the very end of Fallen Order, but that's at the very end, right? He's still on the run, so yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know. Any further thoughts?
I mean, I'm just super excited that we got another good, solid miniseries that is dealing with this era of Star Wars. I feel like, sometimes it could be done to death, but like when you get really mature kind of stuff like this that really like has no hold bars, and it's just all right, Inquisitors gonna be Inquisitors, and they're just going around slaying people, and we're seeing stuff from the Jedi. Just it was good action. I mean, the artwork, I think we got to give praise. It really evokes the Vader 2017 run. Like, I really like how they look very similar because it's right around the same time. I'm assuming this is after those events.
Yeah. Ramon Rosanas, he's an old hat with Star Wars now, so a household name. And this is a new angle, right? Joel making this comment just because he's a Jedi. The Inquisitors are the protagonists again. It's from their angle, and we've gotten Jedi in the Dark Times plenty, including a whole 4-year animated series on it. We haven't gotten the Inquisitors yet, and so as the focal story. I mean, and a live action show on Obi-Wan Kenobi, as I met listed them all before. Yeah, really, it's just even a great premise. Even a great premise that looks like it'll be executed on well. I mean, it remains to be seen. I know we're kind of gushing about this issue, but because it's off to such a strong start, but we'll see. We're not shills. We're just excited. Last thoughts before we move on.
Well, that's about it.
All right, very quickly. Let's talk about just last night's acolyte. Teach Corrupt. Back to the slash titles, which is interesting. Yeah, very quickly. Another really strong episode that really gave us just enough, and it was really tightly edited and tightly. I love how it was a very clear thing of there's only really 4 characters in this whole episode because the rest of them are dead. But yeah, basically the masters and the apprentices, except they're switched. And and again, I mean Vern and whatever she's up to, whatever she's doing. But yeah, I am wondering, I'm thinking, and this hopefully by Monday I'll have more thoughts on this, thinking about the episode length, and this is just questions I'm gonna think more about episode length and whether or not they're delaying the mystery of this fire too long is a question. I don't know. Anyway, quickly, what thoughts on the acolyte last night?
Oh man, this is a great episode to follow up a very action-heavy episode. I'll acknowledge your thoughts about the episode title. Yeah. So it did come out that the previous 2 episodes 4 and 5. No, wait. Yeah, 4 and 5 were part 1 and part 2. So that's why it's like the night and day, right? They go together.
Yeah.
This episode's more standalone, like the other ones, where it's just like there's not a clear like, oh, we got to watch the next episode. I mean, I can't wait to watch it. There's not as heavy as a cliffhanger. This is meant to be like that one episode thing, right? But yeah, no, I really like this. I think you got a lot of a huge amount of character development in ways that we really needed for this, because I'm starting, and I started to say this last week, I'm seeing Leslie Headland's vision clearer and clearer with each episode. The first couple episodes, it's like I kind of like, all right, I see maybe where you're going. Now I'm like, okay, I see the beeline. I see what's happening here. The reason why you're introducing in twins is they're flipping. I love that idea. Oh my gosh, the acting is so good, whether it be Lee Jung-jae with that like very long still shot of him, just like the emotions on his face of a Jedi, like being conflicted. Like, oh man, that was great. Seeing the aggression, like him slamming his, like losing his cool as a Jedi. And it's just like the stuff eating at him on the inside. You don't even need any dialogue. You could just, it's just the acting so good. And then going to, oh my gosh, Manny Jacinto, like this guy is incredible. Like,
Vancouver's Manny Jacinto. Happy Canada Day, Manny. Sorry, keep going.
Wait, what? He's from Canada? Oh.
Yeah, he's from Vancouver.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this guy is awesome. He's a tour de force actor. I mean, this guy is dare I say on Adam Driver level. Like as a dark side character, I'm really liking where he is going. That entire storyline, I was captivated. Every time this guy is talking, I'm captivated now. I'm on the edge of my seat, listening to every word he says, because he has a lot of really interesting history, context clues. There's a lot of really cool mystery elements. Like, ooh, why is that thing shaped like a whip could have hit him? Like, oh, I wonder who could have done that for Nestra, right? Like, there's like a lot of interesting things. Like, oh, what's this unknown planet that is explained exactly like something from the Darth Plagueis novel? Like, there's so many cool little tidbits here. But just it goes back to the dialogue and back to the character of Amandla Stenberg's Osha, and you could totally tell the turn. Like you see it written on the walls, like why she could accept it, like the idea that she was, taken by the Jedi, and then leaves the Order, and then he's able to kind of get into her head.
Yeah,
and his confidence, I loved like how many times like just kill me, like he was doing all this stuff purposely to goad her, but to get her own willpower to make the decision herself. He wasn't manipulating her necessarily. He was just getting her to understand, so she willfully puts the helmet on at the end of the episode, and it's like, oh my gosh, they literally did it. Like, this is going crazy places, and there's only 2 episodes left, and I'm thinking, gosh, we better not have to wait like 2 months like we did with Ahsoka for them to give us the official green light on season 2, because there's so much stuff happening that I feel like we have just really got going with this story, and they got to wrap it up already,
I think it's already been greenlit. That'll be my feeling right now. My gut, for whatever that's worth, is saying, yeah, it's already greenlit. They're probably going to say, yeah, at the end of, kind of like they very clearly implied at the end of Ahsoka, they might explicitly come out and say, stay tuned for season 2 in 2 weeks. One last thing I'll say about this is the episode that Reylos wish they'd gotten.
Yeah,
very clearly going on what's going on there. Yeah, I mean it went there. It went places. Well, yeah, seductive. Dark side is being seductive. Let's put it that way. Fair enough. All right. Well, check out Flagship, Star Wars Underworld. Check out Iron Cannon on Monday, and then Outer Rim Transmissions on Sunday for more conversations on this Space Wizard show. We're going full bore there, but still a bit more comics to talk about, a bit more comics news, bit of news on the just today. It's just interesting. I don't want to talk because I just wanted to bring it up because it's an interesting little tidbit. Charles on the platform formerly known as Twitter, he tweeted some small details about ongoing number 50. He said he turned in his lettering draft for Star Wars number 50 today, ending that run. It's gorgeous. Madevek Muzabekov edited himself. That's not the surprising part. We know he would. And here was the interesting thing is he tweets. He says, and this is Charles Soule. It was my effort to link all the eras I've written, High Republic to the sequel trilogy, all the eras. Wrote the last issue the way I wrote them all, crammed full of cool business. And so, yeah, I just want to highlight literally in the notes. I have it highlighted. My effort to link all the eras that I've written, because we know that it's gonna be a framing device set. The framing device, at least, is set after Return of the Jedi with Luke and Ben. Speaking of Reylos, with Luke and Ben, so it's gonna maybe connect Rise of Kylo Ren and maybe Poe Dameron. Probably not. I didn't think that necessarily, but now I'm thinking, okay, Rise of Kylo Ren, Poe Dameron, High Republic. You know, is there gonna be something about Porter? Is there gonna be something about Kirik Infala in there? Where is Kirik Infala? Speaking of tangent, where is he in with Phase 3? He's supposed to come back. Is this going to be a Luke story about the beeline to Return of the Jedi? Is it going to be the Battle of Tanab like we thought? Is it going to be something else entirely? Just this anthology like that Giuseppe Camuncoli cover kind of suggests, and this comic kind of suggests, right? That, or at least Luke is gonna, I don't know. I mean, was it Stellan or Elzar has shown up in this comic already? So Elzar Man, Luke has this rock soup thing that he goes into. Has an encounter with a Force echo of Elzar, and so I think just in response to all one story, Charles responded to someone else. So that's surprising. I don't. What do you think of this comment that it's going to link all the eras that he's written from High Republic to the sequel trilogy?
Yeah, I think I was hoping for something different, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping for like that Lando, big epic space battle over Tanab.
No, Mike.
So I was a little bit disappointed because like they're obviously not gonna get to that now. So it's like, when are we getting that story? Is it gonna be like the case with what is it called? The Empire Strikes Back, like, oh, the bounty hunter on Ormentel. Like, I think they're purposely just saying we're not doing that. Just like we're not going to explore Yoda's species like origins or anything like that. Like, it might be that unwritten thing with the Bothans. Like, we'll never in canon get those stories, which is disappointing.
Not for the time being.
Yeah, I look at this as like, maybe this is Charles Soule saying bye to Star Wars for now as well. Like, the fact that he is trying to connect all these things almost seems like, all right, like, I'm going to go out with a big swing because maybe I'm done with Star Wars for a little bit. I mean, gosh, that guy's been writing Star Wars for like over 10 years. Like, I would probably need a break after a while too. So this does seem like, I wouldn't be surprised if after this he's like, I'm going to take a step away. Maybe I'll go back to like She-Hulk or Daredevil with Marvel or another character or a brand new creator series or like this. So it seems like it's kind of a finale for now for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's never going to stop doing creator owned. We know that. He's always going to be like Shrouded College. The second arc of Shrouded College just finished. Undiscovered Country is almost done. It's 5 issues left. And so, that's a good point that he might be stepping away from taking a break. I mean, like Trials of the Jedi, that's got to be almost done. Or at least his drafts of it. So, yeah, I can see that. I don't blame him. Quit while you're ahead, coming on top. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, who knows? I mean, it might. Who knows if the Battle of Tanab doesn't connect with all these things somehow either? Maybe. But I don't know why Luke would be telling Ben about the Battle of Tanab. That's another thought. But you never know. You never know. It might be a novel. They'll get some.
Yeah, let's get a novel in that era. I would love it. I've been asking for that for a while now.
So it was that. Yeah, I'm just trying to think. But like hopefully. Well, what I was gonna say is maybe they said, okay, let's not do this now because we have all these comics in this space already. Let's just leave some. Or at the very least, let's leave some room for something in the future. Which again, it is odd because we've been following Lando for a good chunk of this story. So I do see what you're saying there. I can see the logic. I can see them wanting to hold off, and then him saying, maybe Charles pivoting and saying, okay, I'll actually do this kind of love letter and link everything together. I'm gonna love that. Just kind of what you're saying about Inquisitors with the other sprite in the Actus coming in with TIE fighters. I'm all about when the two eras collide. I mean, that's what I loved about Dark Times. So one of the things I loved so much, just the aesthetic of the Vader comic. There's that I have that Mike Del Mundo, Toronto's Mike Del Mundo variant of Vader staring down the Phase 2 clones. And so that's of number, I think number
Wow.
2 of that run. So that, yeah, that'll be interesting just to see it all play out. I remember, I'm saying I'm a lot. Sorry, I should work on diction here. I remember is it Crimson Reign, the issue with Madeline Sun with the Sava, and how this is by Charles Soule. She's talking to Kira about why the Jedi fell, and part of that involves the fall of Starlight Beacon and the rise of the Sith. And this is, of course, set just before Return of the Jedi, but she talks about the Dark Times. And so he's done this before, is my point. And he's done this to great effect before. I love that issue. It's maybe one of my favorite issues. May well be my favorite issue of the flagships, the 3 flagships crossover of the crossovers. So yeah, I can see him pulling it off. He's written everything. He's written in every era. Right. He's written prequel era with Obi-Wan and Anakin. He's written, of course, sequel era. And he's, of course, part of Project Luminous. So yeah, I can see he knows all these eras intimately well as well. So looking forward to it. It comes out. I had to look this up because I forgot. It comes out on 9/11. So
Wow.
Maybe some nod to Starlight Beacon or something in there. I don't know. But
Oh man.
I think that's just a coincidence. It happens to be a Wednesday. September 11th happens to be Wednesday. We will see. All right. Leaving next week. Just things we know. High Republic Adventures number 7, as you mentioned. Lula, Zine. I don't remember where we're at with this story. I think
It came like that. That was a confusing story.
Yeah.
Because the warden came in on a ship as they were on Iriado. And he's like, "Hey guys," and he just turned around and he went away.
Right.
It was like, wait, what was the point of this? It was psychological warfare. How?
They got scared off. I wonder. So DJO tweeted Tarkin family drama. I'm wondering if this is the Tarkin family drama. This is starting here. That'd be fun. That'd be hilarious. I can see like DJO in an HRA doing Tarkin family drama. That'll be funny. That'll be great. I'm looking forward to that. If that's what this is. Of course, Lula and Zine continuing to pursue their story. I don't know. What are you looking forward to? Are you looking forward to in High Republic Adventures?
I'm looking forward to the discussion we're going to have next week. In addition to that,
so
that's what I'm looking forward
something
to.
else. We're not actually talking about High Republic Adventures next week. We're going to push that to the week later because we're doing something special. We are. I'll preview this now. We are doing combined Ion Cannon Tractor Beam. Talking about the Acolyte episode that will come out the night before. Because Chris, you're not free on Mondays, so for good reason I respect. So might as well make it a Wednesday, and Joel's going to join us for the Tractor Beam to talk about the Acolyte. Because why not?
Why not? We'll have the penultimate episode out. So at that point, it'll be a really good time to talk to the show because there will be a little bit of maybe speculation, but also a lot of looking back and reacting to this week's episode and all the good stuff that came before.
Yeah. So please do check that out. Same. I don't want to say bat because that's DC. Same time, same channel. I don't know. I'll have to figure about a good equivalent of that. But let's get to the plugs again. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Threads. At Ion Cannon Pod, EYEONCNONPOD. Chris, where can they find you all over the internet?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at StarRaptor, talking about video games, the Acolyte a little bit, Star Wars, and you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/StarRaptor, talking about more of the Acolyte. And I have my Outer Rim Transmission podcast, like I mentioned. We go live every Sunday, this month is going to be a little bit sporadic because I'll be going to Comic-Con at the end of the month, so I'll probably have to do a show on another random day again just to get one in.
Mhm.
But for the most part, we go live on Sundays, but that's why you want to follow me on Twitter, so I can give you those highlights and updates on that.
There we go. Yeah, check him out right there again. On Ion Cannon podcast Mondays 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. We're rolling right along with the Acolyte. We are still going to do another Ion Cannon discussion about the Acolyte episode. Maybe see what changed. What changed? We're getting another guest for that, and then what changed from our perspective from Wednesday to Monday, because it might. That's again, I'm still mulling over some things from last night, and then then what am the train of thought? Oh yeah, then two more, and then we're the week after that. Joel and I are hopefully getting a guest on to just do a whole series look back, the Ion Cannon style that we do, and then see what do we do after that, because we've had this momentum going, and we'll sort all of that out. Again, that's Mondays 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel, etc. Again, the flagship, it's not going tomorrow, it's going Friday 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on the channel, of course, on this channel. Check out Tales from Beyond the Galaxy. They're chatting Acolyte and House of Dragon, a bunch of stuff. Of course, the race side. She's going every day, all day, every day. I don't know about all day, every day, but
Wow.
we get her, I think, to 5,000 on Instagram, something like that. Something ridiculous like that, Hannah, being the star of the show here on the network. But yeah, it's being fun, being a good discussion, being fun just thinking about this television show, and also having time to talk about these other books, other Star Wars stories that have come up. I've again finally started Temptations of the Force, and I'm enjoying that, and so
Good.
hopefully I'll be able to talk about that. I just throwing this out there. At some point, we're gonna have to do a Phase 3 look back, maybe kind of a halfway through Phase 3 intermission.
Oh yeah.
We'll
Maybe on like a Tuesday night or Friday night or something like that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out for that. Yeah, you can follow me also personal socials, Twitter, NEUG485, Instagram Threads, MNEUG1138, Instagram also beaches.foodie if you like your food. Lots of soccer right now because Euros, Copa America, all that fun stuff. So check all that out. And again, get this back up, please do, regardless of whether we talk about it or not. We won't be talking about it, but still go pick up Hieroglyphic Adventures #7. Support your local comic book shops. Again, you can get it on digital if you want, but support your local. And check us out next week and the week to come. We will of course pick up Hieroglyphic Adventures. We will talk about it just a week later. That's how we do. Till then, Chris, happy reading for light and life.